This is the Louie T Network. Hey, either you're outside or you're
in the lab room.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome. You are in the lab room. Of course, I am your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Week number 10 in the National Football League. Thursday night football. Cincinnati Bengals hosting the Cleveland Browns. AFC North, family business. What happens in the family stays in the family. And it's intrastate violence tonight. So that's even better. That's a double whammy. It's two teams in the same division. It's two teams in the same state. Anything goes when it's those type of matchups. And so here's a situation where we're talking about arguably the best division in all of football this year. Who saw that coming? No other division can boast all teams being at least 5 victories or more on the season. And so these two teams right now are going to jockey it out for positioning within that tough AFC North division. Right now, Cincinnati is atop this division at 5-2-1 on the season, but the Browns aren't too far behind at 5-3, and with the victory tonight, they could easily ascend in this division. Keep in mind, they've already got a win versus the Pittsburgh Steelers within the division. If they're able to get a win over Cincinnati, that will go a long way, especially on the road now, okay? It's one thing to win, it's another thing to do it on the road. If they're able to get this one with another one lingering around the corner at the crib, that could be huge for the Cleveland Browns. So this is a big one, and this is the national spotlight, the national stage. I want to see how both of these teams respond to having the entire world watching them tonight. There's no other show in town. It's all them. So I want Cleveland, not used to having this big stage. These are the bright lights, big stage. How are they going to perform? Neither are the Cincinnati Bengals. But both of these teams have, over the years, been pretty non-existent on the national forefront. So to see these guys featured on a Thursday night game, which that's the point the NFL has driven home over the last couple of years, making it a huge point of emphasis to make sure that each and every single team is showcased on Thursday night football. So you don't have a situation where you don't see the Browns for 3 or 4 years on national television. So this is the Browns' opportunity to show, hey, we're for real. And I was not impressed with the Browns last week. Not impressed. That team that I saw against Tampa Bay won by default because the Buccaneers were a bad football team, not because they were a good team. And I want to see the team that was good against Pittsburgh. I want to see the team that was good against New Orleans. I want to see that team tonight, not the team that I saw against Jacksonville, not the team that I saw last week against Tampa Bay. I don't want to see those. I don't even want to see the team that I saw against Oakland. None of those teams in Cleveland would be good enough to win in the jungle on Thursday Night Football. If they're going to beat the Cincinnati Bengals, then they're going to need to play a much better football game. The type that they played against Pittsburgh, the type that they played against New Orleans, the type that they played against Pittsburgh the first time in the second half. They need to play that kind of football. Hell, they need to play the kind of football that almost landed them a W over the Ravens when they played the Ravens earlier in this season. So if they can play much better on the offensive side of the football, they got to establish the run. They struggled running the football. And earlier in the season, they had success running the football. All of a sudden now, they're finding it tough. And yeah, you can talk about the injuries. And I talked about losing your center, Alex Mack, and how that was going to impact you. Well, it's starting to be felt. I thought you were going to be able to move some pieces around and have guys step up. Hasn't really worked out that way. And so now the running game has suffered. Billy Ho hasn't been as accurate as he was earlier in the season and as efficient as he was, but hey, he's been getting the job done. It was a little sloppy last week, but it was enough to get the W. When the game was on the line, he made the throw and got it done. So love to see this offense get back on track. The defense needs to be able to stop the run better. They've struggled all season long stopping the run. I know you got injuries up front, but you got to find a way. Even if you got to run blitz, whatever you got to do, you got to drop that extra man down in the box and have 8-man fronts. You got to do something because this isn't going to cut it. You saw Jeremy Hill last week and what he was able to do against the Jacksonville Jaguars. You don't want any part of that. You don't want the Cincinnati Bengals to have a two-way go of it, because we know that they can throw the football with, guess who, Mohamed Sanu, and also young, fresh, and green, A.J. Green. You know they can throw the football. They've got targets galore out there in Cincinnati. You need to be able to stop the run and force Andy Dalton to have that Andy dope moment in this game that could propel you to a W. If you're Cincinnati, what you want to do is come in, establish the ground game, take some of that pressure off of Andy Dalton, and then allow him to go out there off a play action fake and drive the football down the field. And defensively, you want to get after Billy Ho, make him make a mistake. He will give you opportunities if you apply pressure. First things first, though, stop the run, make them one-dimensional, which is what everyone has done over the last month or so against this Cincinnati Bengals team. Stop the run, make them one-dimensional, make Billy Ho feel the pressure and the need to go out and win the game by himself. He'll turn the football over, you win the game. And it also would be nice if you could continue to get the great contributions from the special teams unit. And look, the cornerback formerly known as Pac-Man has been stepping up huge. Adam Jones has been giving you some great contributions on special teams, whether it's punts, kickoffs. The guy's been electric. If you can get one of those tonight, in addition to some solid play out of Andy Dalton, no turnovers would be nice, and the defense can come out and stop the run and maybe force a turnover or two. I expect Cincinnati to come away with this W. Now, I will say this rivalry is always close. It doesn't matter how bad or how good the Cincinnati Bengals are. It doesn't matter how bad or how good the Cleveland Browns are. You can throw records out of the window when these two teams get together. If Cleveland has 3 wins on the season, you best believe one of them came from Cincinnati. And usually it's when they play in Cleveland, but you just never know. This is a team playing with an abundance of confidence. They could jump up and bite this Cincinnati Bengals team in the jungle and come out with a W. So if you are the Cincinnati Bengals, what you want to do is establish your home field dominance early. The crowd is going to be loud and raucous. It's Thursday night football. It's primetime television, bright lights, big stage. You want to show up early. You want the crowd to be involved from the opening kickoff until the last whistle in this game. And the way to keep them involved is by jumping on this Cleveland Browns team immediately in this game. So stopping the run, forcing the issue, and then scoring some points. I mean, if Cincinnati can get this score up into the high 20s, I think they're pretty safe in assuming that they're going to win this game, because the Browns really struggle. When they get in the red zone, they struggle to score points. If you can eliminate the big play, they score on big plays. They scored on big plays against Pittsburgh. They scored on a big play last week against Tampa Bay. They score on big plays, but when they have to get in the red zone and actually have to run the football or get it in the end zone in close quarters, they struggle and settle for a lot of field goals. If you're Cincinnati, the key to the game is stop them from getting in the end zone, and when you get opportunities, score touchdowns. I like the Cincinnati Bengals at home to take care of business within the division. Don't expect it to be easy, but I do expect them to get this win and win by 10 points in this game. I expect Cincinnati to do more than enough to win this football game. Give me the Cincinnati Bengals at home to take care of business. 27-17 over the Cleveland Browns. So that's going to do it for the Thursday night breakdown of Cincinnati Cleveland. Should be a really fun game. We previewed it here, looking for this game to be a lot of fun as both of these teams are on the national stage. And neither one of them are there very often, so I expect this game to have a lot of energy involved. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab room. Come back and join me as I break this game down tomorrow, as well as we start running through the list of teams in the National Football League as we break down the midpoint season of all the teams in the National Football League here in the lab room. See you in a bit. Enjoy the game.